If you ever watched a regular person actually use ChatGPT or any other AI chat applications, you've probably noticed that they are not starting a new conversation for every single new topic that they're discussing. They just keep going in one thread. Because that's how we've been trained for the last decade of texting and messaging. Just one window, one person, one ongoing thing. And when apps tell them to start a new chat, to start a new conversation, they don't understand why they need to do this. I think at this point we should just build around this problem. So if you ever try to build this one forever thread, like truly one endless conversation, you hit the wall pretty fast. And it's not just token limit. It starts way before that. Around 50,000 tokens in, you will start noticing things like the model starts to get slower. The cost is actually noticeable for your wallet, and the quality is actually also going down. So you're paying more for the worst result. Some apps try to fix that with RAG, semantic search, vector databases, pulling relevant information from the past conversation. And the way that it works is that when a user sends a message, we first querying our vector database to get relevant chunks to this request. Then we're taking those chunks and giving those chunks to our model. After the response from our model, we're taking the new messages and then we are vectorizing them and putting them into our vector database for the future. But if you ever actually use a chat where a main source of memory is RAG, you've probably felt that something is off. I don't know how to explain it, but it feels weird. It feels like model gets flashbacks, doesn't really know anything about you, but it gets flashbacks about you. So most of the time, at least that's what I notice, is that it doesn't feel like memory, it feels like it's pulling information about me somewhere. It's hard to explain. You have to experience that to know what I mean. So recently Mastra released a new memory feature that I think you should know about. The idea behind it really caught my attention because the core insight is kind of counterintuitive. It's forgetting is a feature. And it's motivated by how our brain works. Like, think about it. I don't remember what I had for lunch a few weeks ago, right? I definitely don't remember the exact JSON schema of an API response that I looked at yesterday. Our brain compresses information. Our brain takes the experiences and turns them into observations, into notes. If I was helping a friend build a startup, I wouldn't remember every Slack message that we exchange, but I would remember the key points, the key insights that Mike is building a startup, he's using Next.js, he is now stressed about the off deadline, let's say, and things like that. So I would remember key insights. The pattern is basically two background processes watching the main agent. The first is Observer. So instead of keeping 30,000 tokens of raw tool call outputs, let's say, Observer takes all those messages and compresses them into observations. And after some time, after our observation will pile up, we have a second process for that, which is called Reflector. What Reflector does, it takes all the observations, connects the dots, summarizes them into even smaller lists. So the result is 3 tiers. First is raw messages, then we have observations, and then we have reflections. At first I was skeptical because I didn't know if the compaction would be that effective. But they released a research where they used this observational memory in long mem eval, which is probably the biggest long memory evaluation right now, and they scored the highest, 95%. And I believe the reason why it's not 100% is because the eval itself is broken. So they probably would have scored even higher than that. And so this observational memory is also backed by research, by the evaluation, by the benchmarks. Now I want to show you how you can implement that and how you can use it in your applications. And the way you define observational memory in your agents in Mastra is stupidly simple. It's even a little bit shameful for me to show it because how easy it is. But here I have my agent that I'm importing from Mastra. I'm defining all the instructions here, and here I have my memory class that I'm defining. I'm defining the storage, in my case SQLite. Then inside of the options here, we have a object which is called observational memory. Inside of it, you just need to enable observational memory, and that's it. That's all you need to do. If you want to, you can customize the model because by default it uses Gemini 2.5. But in my case, I also changed it to GPT. And here you can specify settings for each process, for observation and for the reflector as well. What you can set here is message tokens, which is when the observation is going to be triggered once we get to the 10,000 tokens in my case. And so here also we have buffer tokens, which is also very interesting because when I was playing with it, I had some issues with understanding how it works. But the buffer tokens is basically a token interval for async background observation buffering. So the idea is that observations run asynchronously in the background at this interval, storing results in the buffer. When the main message token's threshold is reached, the buffered observations are activated instantly. No blocking LLM call. So the idea is to not block the main thread. And for the reflector, very similar options here. We can define when do we want to trigger the reflector after how many tokens in observations, let's say. There are many more things that we can go into. For example, very cool that you can combine this observational memory with RAG. So what I mean by that is that here in the retrieval, you can define the vector. So you can define the vector store to use the vector store. What it allows you to do is to, if a model for some reason needs to get the exact wording of the specific message or specific observation, in the background we're also linking the observations to a specific message. So if our model decides to get the information, the exact wording of the message, it can go ahead and retrieve this information from the vector database. There are many different parameters and things that you can tinker here with observational memory. I'm not going to go too deeply into that in this video, but if you want to see more videos about observational memory, about other types of memory, let me know in the comments, leave a like, because I have a lot of different ideas with regards to memory as well. Okay, let's continue. Now I want to show you how you can actually display this observational memory on the front end, because it's not only about using it, but for our users, they want to see what's happening there as well. So let me show you how you can show it on the front. Also, before we go into the front-end implementation, I want to mention that depending on the use case, you can also tinker the message tokens here when the observation is going to be triggered. So the idea is that for simpler conversations, like if you have some kind of simpler conversation like ChatGPT, let's say, you want to have smaller observation window before we hit the observation, generally speaking. Because if you think about it, just to get, let's say by default it's set to 30,000 tokens, which is if your agent doesn't have many retrieval tools and mostly your context is about conversations, to get to this point, that's a lot of messages, that's a lot of text to get there. So you can tinker and maybe make it shorter and smaller, like I'm doing it here, like 10,000 tokens, let's say. For, let's say, coding, where we have a lot of reading files, writing files, and a lot of tool results, let's say, 30,000 tokens is actually a good number. So depending on the use case, you can tinker the observation. And so the way to display the observational memory on the front end, if we want to, here I have my very simple Next.js project with basic Mastra setup and AI SDK. I'm not going to go too deeply, just a very simple route with handle stream. On the front end, we're using AI SDK with use chat. And here I've defined chat messages, a custom chat message type. And here I've defined a custom data type for observational memory data parts. So thankfully, for the most parts, for the most types, they have types for the most of the observational memory data parts. And the way the data, the observational memory represented in your messages is through data parts. So if we look at the messages, so here I have my chat application, which doesn't look really good. Here I have all the observations. Here I have messages, activity log. We can see here when it was buffered, when it was recalled. If we look at the messages, what you will notice is that we have different types of parts here. We have data OM activation, buffering, start, and based on that you can show like active window, so how many tokens we're currently using, let's say, the threshold. When we're reaching the threshold, we can show the observations somewhere. If I try to find them, we can see when the buffering of the observation starts, when it ends. We can see here the observations as well. And you can render all those observations on the front end. Very interestingly, I haven't mentioned that, but they are using like emojis, like this science emojis for like priorities of the observations. So you have green, red, yellow, And you also have timestamps, so when the observation was created, and based on the timestamp, it can, like, AI can decide whether this observation is maybe outdated and things like that. If you have two, for example, contradicting observations, AI will probably pick the latest one. So the timestamps are also playing a role here. So that's how you can display the observational memory on the front end for your users as well. So if you enjoyed it and you found it helpful and you want to see more videos about agentic memory, let me know in the comments, and I'll see you in the next one.